So depression, what are the common causes? And this is true pretty much of anybody, but particularly for seniors, that life events or that situational depression. It's based on something that happens in your life, a loss of a friend, a loss of a job, a loss of a house, a movement to a new place. It can make depression worse, or it can open you up for a period of depression. And we know that mood is basically the result of chemicals in our brains. And when something offsets those chemical changes in the brain, we have an imbalance, and that can lead to depression. And for most seniors, it's a combination of those two things. Basically, our changing brain chemistry. And as we'll talk a little further, there's some genetic predispositions for depression in one's life. And that combined with life events creates depression for people, especially as they get older. And let's look a little deeper at the causes of depression in older adults. We're talking about things like health problems, loneliness and isolation, reduced sense of purpose, fears, and recent bereavements are things that could all lead to that depression. We are social beings, and we've really figured that out over the past year with COVID, where we've all had to be isolated. So, when we're isolated, it also leads to depression. And in fact, in the UK, they have a whole ministry for seniors. Well, not only for seniors, I think it's for the general public on isolation. There's a lot of research over the last 3 to 4 years about how isolation can lead to depression. I talked briefly about medical issues that have depression as a symptom, as a part of it. And here is just a list of things: Parkinson's disease, strokes, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, thyroid disorders, vitamin B12 deficiencies, Alzheimer's and dementia, lupus, multiple sclerosis. All of these things can lead to depression in elderly clients. And I will take, if anybody's heard me talk before, and we've talked about reversible conditions, thyroid disorders, diabetes, B12 deficiencies for seniors, and heart condition too, high blood pressure. You need to keep those things in check and make sure you're getting medical changes, because as we get older, our bodies change, and people's B12 depletes. Once you get it re-put in your body, you can go back to normal and the depression lifts or the memory issues lift. I'm not going into great detail with all of this, but the other thing too is medication can really cause or worsen depression. And I was listening to a talk that I think you can probably access on the Brain Exchange about depression. And there was a family doctor talking about how, most seniors are on 8 to maybe even 13 medications, and how all of those medications can interact with each other. And then we often lay on top of that some over-the-counter drugs. Oh, a Gravel's not going to hurt me if I can't sleep well. Or, my daughters told me about St. John's wort, and maybe I should be taking that. You have to be really careful, because those things that we're seeking sometimes to treat depression can actually cause or make depression worse. And sometimes we can't get away from not taking these medications because we need them as our diseases, or as to help us live well as best we can. So when we talked about a little bit about stress and other factors. So we talked briefly about genes. So genetically, a person can be predisposed to depression. That's like family histories of depression. One's personal history can also predispose them for depression in later life. And the research seems to show that if you have had a couple of major depressive episodes in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, you're more likely to experience depression in your senior years. We talked about brain chemistry and that brain imbalance of those chemicals that are just not moving properly in your brain. And you may need some help and to augment those, but you need it from the proper medical doctor who can help you. because people take so many medications when we're older, we're more likely to experience these complications because different medications interact differently. And the last thing there is stress. And a lot of seniors are stressed. And there is a lot of seniors, in fact, are doing caregiving for older seniors. So when I work with clients at the Alzheimer's Society, the caregivers, the children are in their 60s and their 70s sometimes, taking care of parents who are in their 90s. That really ratchets up stress and can cause depression for them. Other things too, financial stress. When you look at the newspapers recently, I was reading an article that many seniors, as we enter our retirement years, are faced with crippling debt. And I'm sure the pandemic has not helped with that. So those things can lead to depression. They are risk factors, in fact.